You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show. Hello and welcome back to Movie Baiters with the Farx brothers. I'm Kirk.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're joined by actor, model, and editor, Theresa Alvarado. Almost forgot.
We had it the first two times. The last one.
You could have said her maiden name is Sterling. See, that's how well I've been.
Oh,
wow, that's good listening right there.
Sure.
Yeah. But the interview didn't happen yet, Kyle.
Yeah, they'll hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll know that I
Time
listen.
travel.
You can, all time in the past exists as a flat circle. Because you could go to any point on it, like a record or a CD, and you pick which track you want to listen to. You could watch John Wick 3 or John Wick 1, and they both exist in flat circles in cases I own.
In flat circles, in cases.
DVDs.
Well, there's a...
I was like,
It's also, what's his name? Matthew McConaughey in True Detective is like I can't remember what his outlook on life is, but he's like, time is like a flat circle, you see, and we all just experience it in this direction of, three-dimensional beings in the fourth dimension of time. It's not... This is why I like John Wick, because it's clear. People get shot in the head or they don't.
That's what, yeah. As soon as I was like, flat circle, and my brain just starts going, la 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 la.
Weren't you asking for more lore in the last segment? I mean, what kind of lore would you have wanted for Ballerina?
I want things to cross over more. Like, I wish Halle Berry would have shown up in this one. And
That would have been too much. Maybe in the next one.
Okay, sure. Like, her versus Halle Berry would be fun.
That would be super interesting. Or teaming up or something like that.
Sure. Well, in Act 1, she encounters her. Act 2, they're against each other. And by the end of Act 3, they have to come together to fight a greater force.
Love that. Easy peasy. Let's make it.
Please fire Lynn and hire me for the next one. You wanted to talk about the beginning of the movie during the non-spoiler section, and now that we're in the spoiler section, we could talk about the beginning and what you specifically liked about the fight or something like that. Yeah,
just that I wish that there had been more reference in the end to like her father, and so her father, her mother, and then we find out her sister. All three of them are now killed by this cult, this guy in the cult. And it would have been great to have more of a coming back to that moment, because it all happens so fast at the end, and then she's standing with her biggest enemy, her revenge, and then she just shoots him. And I'm like, well, he didn't say anything about killing her father. We got to have some sort of more drive towards the main revenge goal.
The emotional arc has to be fulfilled, because we were, before you got here, working on a pitch for an investment thing I made.
Ooh.
And they say to structure your pitch in the way they did for John Wick, and specifically one of the sections is talking about the main character's arc, and they use John Wick as an example in that because his dog is killed in one, and then he adopts the dog that's going to be euthanized at the end, it shows he uses the skills that he was trying to get away from to, make up for the thing that his wife gave him being taken away from him. But the thing he learned from his wife was compassion and capacity for love, and you're seeing that demonstrated through him adopting the pit bull.
Oh,
yeah.
But wouldn't it have been more impactful if he didn't kill all those people?
But it's,
Some people like animals more than people.
Yeah,
like, do you know anyone that's like that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Like, I think of Bill Maher, for example. This is my example of somebody who's out there kind of being like, I don't like people, but I love animals and care about them because they can't, choose whether or not things... I don't know. My wife is the exact opposite. She thinks that's awful, that people care more about animals than humans.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
You were just telling us, was it on mic when we were talking about pets?
Yeah, were we?
No.
About the
cool.
kittens of it all. Yeah. Watching kittens be born.
You watched the kitten be born?
Yeah. Literally it's a crazy experience.
And you weren't a cat person?
I was not. I didn't grow up with a pet. Thought I was a dog person through and through, but never had a dog. And then my mom has 3 barn cats, and 2 of them got pregnant through a neighbor cat.
The same
accidentally. Cat? The same neighbor cat got both of them, so they're sister cats, and there were 13 kittens that were born, and we were over there on a random like Saturday, and all of a sudden they just start going into labor, and it was the craziest experience because I've never like watched a regular human birth, let alone like a cat birth. So
it is wild, just so you know.
It's we'll leave that for a different time, different podcast. But anyway, yeah.
I'll just say, having seen it, it's like I can watch a lot of violent things on TV and stuff. It is, does it bother you to think about?
I mean, I don't know if I want to have kids, so I'm like, that's honestly one of the biggest things that would keep me from it is the actual birth experience.
It's a challenge, and 26% of children spontaneous abort when whether you're trying to have the child, when you're trying to have the child. So that's life is a mystery, and John Wick takes it away like that. And so does Ballerina.
And so back to murdering people.
Yeah, that was so morbid. 26%. All right, and
it's a stat that the National Institute of Health put out.
Where did you find that stat?
You put it in the documentary you directed.
Oh.
No way!
I did.
That's amazing.
I wasn't the editor.
Where'd you get that stat? Yeah. I got it from you.
It was like years ago. I don't remember every stat I pull out.
I actually do have some happiness this week thinking about I've worked on a bunch of things to where I forget that I worked on something, and then I get reminded of it. It's like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
And or somebody nice. How many times I worked with them on these things, and then they moved their hair, and now they're much more successful, and I feel good for them.
Yeah.
I won't give any specific examples,
did you say they moved their hair, or
moved somewhere else?
Oh. Somewhere, and they moved their hair, and as soon as they did that, stardom came.
Some women fiddle with their hair, and I'm jealous of that because I'd like to have something to do with my hands. I do it with my ring a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder about Ballerina wearing high heels in some of the fights.
Oh yeah, I saw that note. Yeah, there was only one fight, and it was at the club.
Yeah, the ice club.
The ice club, and like I've normally, had such a qualm with like women wearing high heels in just full action movies. That's kind of what bothers me is like. You're going to be a main character or even like a side character, and there's no reason you should be wearing heels. She's at a club, so it makes sense why she's wearing heels, and it fits with her outfit, and like she's also a ballerina, so being on tiptoes is not going to bother her. She knows how to balance, so like none of that bothered me at all.
Damn, you just took down every argument I could have thought of someone. You gun food that.
I did gun food. Yeah, exactly. Nice. But then the rest of the film, she's wearing soft combat boots type thing. So.
And those were boot heels. Like it had a wide heel. It wasn't a stiletto heel. Am I correct in describing it?
Like even men's boots have like a little.
Oh no, I didn't mean the boot. I meant the heels she's wearing in the ice club.
Oh yeah.
Those are more of a wide heel versus a stiletto heel.
I think they were a stiletto. I don't remember.
Stiletto? Okay.
I don't remember. If it's thin, it's like a stiletto. If it's thick, it's a block heel. I don't think she'd be wearing a block heel.
Okay. Wait, why don't you think she'd be wearing a block heel?
Because I don't think I've ever seen a lady in a movie wear a block heel. Actually, an action film, which they should. It's much more. Balancing, sensible, yeah.
Have you ever done an action scene with a heel of any kind?
I did. There was a local fan film, Silver Surfer fan film. CJ Renner directed. Yeah, that was like one of our first times fight coordinating stuff, and I was like one of the bad guys, and I didn't have like a pair of combat boots at that time. I just had like a chunky heeled boot, so I wore that, and I definitely won't do that again.
Wait, why?
Because it's I don't do well in heels. I mean, I like walking in heels and stuff, but man, it's killer on your feet. And like, it just doesn't, I don't think, add anything unless it's like, you're wearing a gorgeous dress and you have heels. And then that's super, super cool. But if you're wearing like, jeans and like a cool jacket, I'm like, you don't need to wear heels.
Yeah.
To be more feminine.
Are you hearing that fly?
I'm hearing that fly.
But is it coming through? Oh, you don't hear the fly?
No, I didn't hear it, no.
Oh, okay. Well, you can cut this part out. What did you think? I don't know if there's a bait around the where she comes out of the club and then crashes the car, and then they do that.
But someone crashes into her. She doesn't crash.
Sure.
Right. Well, she had crashed the car into someone, and then
else,
she drives away and then gets crashed into.
And they do it all in one shot. That was
great.
Delightful.
It was awesome. I absolutely loved like the ending moment of that sequence when she like is starting to walk away, and then the guy is like in over the window, and he's like, oh, and then she just takes I forget what she had, but she just chucks it right into his head.
Yes.
And I was like, that is awesome. Like, that's absolutely John Wick universe,
What's the movie I'm thinking of where someone puts a stiletto heel to someone's face? Please write in, dear listener, on what that movie was.
Stiletto in the face.
A stiletto through the eye socket.
Like an action movie?
Yeah, it's an action movie. I know I'm not making this up in my head, although if I am, we should write that into the pitch we were just talking about. I was initially a little bored by the weapons scene, which I guess I'm jumping closer to the end of the middle of the movie, end of the movie.
Oh, the grenades?
Well, when she goes into the weapon shop, because we see John Wick go in, he has that, like what James Bond does with Q in every movie, and I was initially bored by it, but then they twisted it on its head and we didn't go through the whole thing of here's all the guns. It's no, we need the guns now, and then it's grenades.
I thought that was so different and innovative. That was probably my favorite scene in the whole thing.
That was your favorite scene?
The grenade scene? We're talking about she's in the shop and then people come and attack. That was amazing.
And none of the guns have bullets in them, so she has to use the grenades.
Yeah.
Well,
is that why she did it?
I don't know. To me, it seemed like she saw the grenades. That was going to be way more effective than trying to continuously use guns.
Okay, here's a bait against it, even though I walked into this movie knowing what kind of movie I was going for. The video gamification of movies, where it's video game logic in movies. I feel you could make a criticism of Ballerina. You might or might not have probably would have John Wick, like, oh, this is video game logic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even John Wick itself is shot a little bit like a video game. I mean, literally, even Keanu. I mean, it's like you're following him going like this around. I mean,
and he never misses.
Do you play video games?
I do not, but I really enjoy watching others play video games. I grew up watching my sister play video games, which I really liked.
Your older sister played video games on what system?
I mean, we had Nintendo, we had GameCube, then progressive.
Oh, you went with the Nintendo.
Yeah, we went with the.
Did you get all the way up to the Wii? I find kids can handle a Wii, but they can't. Switch is harder. I'm sorry that.
Huh.
Yeah, like young kids. Oh,
yeah,
the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Because maybe I'm thinking of the Wii U. Because what's the original Wii?
There's just a Wii, and then the
Wii U was the one of the slate or like an iPad.
The halfway point between the Switch and the Wii was the Wii U.
Oh, I don't even recall that.
It's
feels like it was just white noise because I didn't hear about that.
We were probably in college and not playing video games. Or didn't
also
have
the Wii U didn't sell that well either, so it makes sense.
That's why they changed the name to Switch, and then Switch was so successful they have Switch 2 coming
out now. Yeah,
Lilo and Switch. There wasn't enough humor in this movie, and I feel as though
Are there humor in the other movies?
Yes, the fourth movie is a comedy.
Which part did you laugh in John Wick 4?
Because
he's falling down the stairs for 5 straight minutes. But there's not like solid comedy in one. It's not in John Wick is not an action comedy.
Yeah.
Bullet Train is an action comedy. Fall Guy is an action comedy.
You're talking in terms of the comedy as like a intentional, like a direct on the surface comedy. I would make the argument that in Stahelski movies he is using the silent film era, like how you would stage something in a silent film, and they play it for comedic effect, like, hey, I have these tools and I have to solve this situation. I'm going to throw the knives into this guy, or making a scene go on longer than anticipated. Like specifically 4 does that, as we talked about in the non-spoiler section.
They have one distinct moment in Ballerina with the plates.
Yeah.
Remember the plates? Yeah. It was like kind of the only moment that was.
I think that was a Stahelski coming in and suggesting something versus like the Len Wiseman Underworld movies. I've seen not all of them, but most are. I've seen more than 2 of them, I believe.
Okay.
Those are not funny. Those are overly serious. And what I think makes John Wick, the Wick movies, unique. What?
Well, Underworld, isn't that the vampire one?
Vampires and
Yeah, how is that?
Right.
It's not gonna be funny. It's gonna be very authentic to what they want vampires and Wolverines with werewolves to be.
Yeah.
I think maybe I wonder if like the comedy you're talking about is like a subtle dry humor, almost like a nod to for the audience of like, you know, because there are times in the John Wick films where it's those staged moments. It's not like words they're saying. Like you're saying, it's
yes,
like,
it's dry is a great way to put it.
yeah, it's like, oh, they both run out of bullets, so then they have to toss it, and that, you know, that kind of thing. It's like not Jackie Chan, but like if it was like 0.01% Jackie Chan, because he does a lot of the like staged humor of like, you know.
But there's also character through action and violence in both Wick and Jackie Chan movies, and I feel as the argument I'm making to try and form a bait for the spoiler section is that the direction of Ballerina it's more like, here's a new video game scene and we're somewhat upping the action, and it doesn't have the same flair of Stahelski. Now, I think Ana de Armas has a lot of qualities that are different but equal to Keanu Reeves in terms of charm, ability to do things. I'm blaming the directors here.
I definitely think they could have leaned more into having a personality for her and like taken more time to develop that, because John Wick specifically doesn't have a personality, and that works for Keanu because he's just a very monotone type actor.
Oh, I'm gonna bait you there, but sorry, finish.
Okay. Fish and bait. I love the word bait. But like John Wick is just like, he's just relentless, you know. And I think they were trying to give Eve more of a character, you know, but then they didn't quite get there enough for me, because I liked that she wasn't just a robot.
Right, yeah.
So when you say it didn't get there for you, I want to understand how would a different character you can think of, or can you give a counterexample of someone?
I think if they just did some more character development for her, you know, and you know, spending a little more time at the beginning, maybe seeing her interact with more people in that environment, in the Roscaroma, seeing her interact with other characters outside of that, you know, just giving her more time to develop her personality. Because we understand John Wick and his personality, but we don't quite get hers yet.
I would, instead of baiting you, I will agree with you, because she has the scenes with the friend at the Roscaroma training, and like, the friend is like just a character. It's like, here is friend character. And Ana de Armas worked harder than her and care more because her daddy died. That's the thing we didn't say in non-spoilers, is that she's motivated by daddy dying. Which is exactly what we had in Ruby, so I'm still a little mad about that. Sorry, the movie we made 5 years ago for Z-Fest, where we had the X's on the back of people's heads and they had them on the arms, and then it's we thought, we'll get to young girl John Wick before anyone else does, and this was girl John Wick, because
Wait,
Atomic
I need to
Blonde,
see. It was called Ruby. What you did?
I should put it public on JK.
You should, especially after this, because now I want to see it, because that's so crazy that like you were
X
thinking
thing?
of this, the X thing and the
I
father
didn't
dying.
personally think of the X thing, just so that's clear. It was part of the greater team. There were 6 or 7 heads contributing
but
in
it
different ways.
It was a part of the film.
Yeah.
And it was motivated by John Wick.
Yeah.
Because like, this script came from somebody writing a spec script of John Wick with the same kind of idea of,
oh, interesting.
we'll go. How did you feel about Atomic Blonde?
So I haven't actually seen the whole film, which is crazy, because I'll for sure watch it. But it just, I don't know why, it just was like one of those things where like everyone had watched it, and I also don't do great with extreme gore. Like I don't watch any horror films, and I don't like. John Wick is like just the right amount of like gory for me, you know. Like sometimes I will, if somebody stabs somebody in the eye, I can't watch that, because I will pass out.
Oh, when they slowly stab the guy in the eye in 3. That's one of my favorite parts.
I don't even understand, because I probably cover my eyes, you know.
Oh, no, that's fine. It already happened.
But it's super gross.
What about when she tears the toenail off?
No.
What bothered me about Ballerina is there wasn't anything that made me go, ugh. Because John Wick 3, and not so much 4, but 3 definitely had me go, oh. that challenges a bit. Like
What
there's
about the explosions with the grenades? I mean, I thought that was pretty different.
people
where the
blowing
body,
up doesn't.
The body literally imploded, and
It was gross. Yeah,
pretty
there's
gross.
a couple moments in Ballerina I was like,
They do a similar explosion to a body in Wes Anderson's new movie that, which I saw in, like at the
gosh,
very
I didn't
beginning
see
of the movie. Wes Anderson is super violent, and I would love to sit next to him.
Is he?
And
what?
He's
Yeah,
not super
super violent?
No, he's not.
Grand Budapest Hotel is super violent. Like, okay, give me the next
It's not
slicer.
violent.
Grand Budapest? Yeah, they're in
Yeah.
prison. They talk about throat slitters
I
and
think you're thinking of the wrong
Grand Budapest.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, they talk
prisoners?
about throat slitters in there. People get killed.
They're in the hotel and that.
Yeah,
like that. Oh,
but there's the things going on around it. And then, like, I was just was rewatching Isle of Dogs, and that's a very violent movie. I showed it to children because I'm me, but there's...
I'll have to watch Grand Budapest with the idea in mind that Wes Anderson is violent.
Yes,
He's
he's very violent. Like, he's very... twee and stale sometimes with his, like, he's not
He's not Tarantino.
He's not
Tarantino. He's
Tarantino.
100% explicit.
And he's not Stahelski. Like, what's to Stahelski's credit is that he isn't being compared to Tarantino with the John Wick movies.
Yeah.
Nether's Leach, one of the godfathers of the Wick verse, as
Yeah.
I'll call it. So
But that's what I was saying of like I can watch Wick and I'm fine, but Tarantino I can't watch his. I mean I watched Hateful Eight and I watched all that, but like a lot of it was like I use my remote as like a little censor bar. I like censor certain parts out because I just honestly I will pass out. It's not even that I don't want to. I want to watch it, but my body won't let me.
What happened when you were injured playing sports as a young person?
I mean, I never really paid attention to that because you don't with hockey. I think I got like 2 concussions, broken arm, wind knocked out of me a couple times, but then you just move on.
But what about when some people would lose teeth or something?
Oh my God, you're not going to lose teeth in women's hockey.
Oh, okay.
We don't. 1, there's no contact, and 2, like where you wear a mouth guard. Yeah, there's no.
Don't
pecking.
they want people to watch it? They should have contact or women's
They're
hockey.
gonna fight the entire.
Yeah, I want them to drop the gloves and punch each other.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, you can watch a fight and a hockey game breaks out. Is that kind of thing?
I want to watch a hockey game. Wait.
Watching a fight in a hockey game breaks out.
Yeah.
That's an old joke.
Oh, I don't know.
About because like some people watch hockey. I will.
Oh, I see. I get it now. Yeah, I get it.
Yes. So you would be open to fighting if you could go back and it didn't have the injuries you've already described in having fights in hockey.
I don't think it adds anything to the game. That's not why I was in the game, but there are certain times I wanted to fight people for sure. And when I was younger, I had the most penalties on my team for sure.
Whoa.
Well, because it's like, you can't have straight up contact, like you can't check somebody,
Right?
But you can like hit somebody against the boards if you're like trying to and it's called rubbing them out. It's I didn't know the sexual reference when I was younger, but
Oh, there's a sexual reference.
yeah. But like as a defense, or even if you're playing forward or something, and someone's got the puck and they're coming towards you, you can angle them towards the boards and then stop them at the boards, but you can't like slam them against the boards. So also, like, dumb checking, like, tripping or, hitting somebody on the back, that's just dumb stuff that, like, you just wouldn't do. But, like, it's only dudes hockey where it's like, oh, yeah, let's punch. I just don't think that's worth it.
Yeah, get the score on the board, not fights on the.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Score.
let me win this fight by getting a goal right now.
Right, yeah.
I've been into boxing for about 10 years, so that's where my
That's where your mind is at, yeah.
Yeah, since you brought up, how do I handle this correctly? You brought up the sexual connotation. It was interesting to me that she was not sexualized in this movie, whereas like in Atomic Blonde, there's...
Okay.
Oh, because you asked me what I thought about Atomic Blonde, but...
Yeah, there's Eve doesn't have a romantic interest. She doesn't use sex as a weapon that like they do in Bond movies or like...
I'm so grateful for that.
Well, yeah. That's why I would show this to my daughters at a certain age because it's not... Okay, so we're in agreement on that. Damn it. I don't even... I don't even know... Well, I guess... Okay, let me self-bait myself. There is
Is that a sexual reference?
The show is called
show
Movie
is.
Daters with
The
the
whole
Farx
show is.
Brothers. We're master debaters about
I
movies.
just got that. That's so funny.
Can I be honest with you? I didn't put it in writing when I asked you to be on the show. I was like, I referred to it as the show. I was like, if I put Movie Baiters down, she's gonna like look at that and go, "What the hell?"
No, I don't pick up on that stuff often. So.
Because you're a pure soul, you don't follow politics or
Well,
news.
I think it's more of like I just don't get it. Like sarcasm and stuff used to go right over my head, or like innuendos or stuff, because I just think I don't have that part of my brain. I've had to learn to understand sarcasm. I've had to learn to understand innuendos, but it just doesn't. That's not where my brain goes.
No, that's they say sarcasm is a sign of internalized anger, but I'm like, well,
right.
where else should I direct that anger, sir or ma'am?
To myself? Yes.
On a podcast. Yeah.
Oh, well, so to finish the idea about self-baiting, why there could be a version of the world from a sex positive point of view where, hey, she could, have a romantic interest even. So not sexual, but romantic. And that would give her maybe more character.
Sure.
Is to know who she's interested in. Like, because Charlize Theron is, I think, bisexual in Atomic Blonde. There are scenes with both sexes.
Are there? Okay.
Yeah, there, and my wife has never watched a John Wick movie, but she watched Atomic Blonde and enjoyed it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll have to see it.
Yeah, and
because I watched the long. It's like they call it the 10-minute long action sequence, although they do have
the
secret cuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was obviously phenomenal. I mean, she's a great action star. Charlize is. Yeah.
I used that scene against returning champ Nick Michael, former Farx brother, as like why those movies are good, because he's a horror guy and he kind of shits on the action genre. It's action for action's sake, is what he would say.
What's wrong with that?
Okay, why do you feel like that's? He would say it lacks story, emotional arc, and I could see an argument for that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're just doing an action scene because you think it's cool and it's not furthering the story, then don't
you enjoy things that happen in the John Wick movies that are just action for action's sake?
But I think you have to like think about them outside of that moment, like in Ballerina, using the fire and using the sword. It's like neither of those are necessary, but are they cool? Absolutely. I think the flamethrower spent way too long on that. They cut some of that out and put some more at the beginning. That's what I would have said. But
interesting.
But you do have to be like, you know what? Ana de Armas crushed that. The choreography was phenomenal. The execution was phenomenal. Reasons for it wasn't there, but you can enjoy because it's not the main part of the film. You know what I mean?
That she fights the Vice bad guy at that point because he gets the flamethrower and then she has to use the hose. So there was
but not the whole of the flamethrower scene.
Okay.
Because it goes on for quite a long time. Yeah. She's using that flamethrower for like a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So that
and he even comes up and like hits her in the head with the flamethrower instead of just blasting her with the. It doesn't make. There's moments that don't make sense with that.
Okay.
There's a lot of misses, but the hose of it all, you actually can put. I actually watched a video of firemen putting out a ginormous fire with a singular hose that was like blasting around the flame, and they extinguished it. So it is possible.
Oh, so you can do that.
Can do that, yeah.
There was a question of that on a much bigger show that I listened to reviewing, who was kind of negative on Ballerina. It's like you couldn't put a hose up to a flamethrower okay.
You definitely could. And the amount of time it takes to do so actually made sense. Did they need to do it? I don't think so.
I guess the argument I have, in your favor is that what I didn't like about the flamethrower thing is that I've seen that in John Wick 4, but they did do something new with the water that told me something about her character that is different than what I saw John Wick do in 4.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that in 4.
Yeah, in 4.
Where they have the flamethrowers before he falls out of the building and then goes up the stairs in 4.
Gosh, why is that?
I don't remember that. I remember that dog.
I believe you, I just don't. I don't recall.
That's fine.
What I had remembered, and this kind of goes back to your point of the lore or to not have enough or whatever, I do wish there was some more with like the coin that Winston gives her, the two-sided coin, like to save. Wait, it was Winston that gave her the one coin that they showed.
Yeah, at the beginning.
To save or to kill, and the whole point of her was to like choose to save because she saved her father. She didn't that's why she killed, was to save.
Yes.
And so the fact that they didn't bring that back, and it was right there, like it was right there to be able to be like the coin, and I'm choosing to save
Well, she chose to
kill
save the girl, the Norman
right, but they
Reedus'
don't
daughter.
they don't bring
Yeah.
it back. You know what I mean? And I feel like in the other John Wick films, he would like have the coin, or like there'd be something more.
It didn't complete the arc.
It didn't complete the arc. But
That
again,
is-
I do want to emphasize, because I haven't emphasized this yet, that I think Ana de Armas did a fantastic job with all of the action, and I think she's awesome.
Let me see. Could I think of someone that would be better than Ana de Armas? Margot Robbie, I think, could have done this better.
No,
Absolutely not.
no,
Are you
I
serious?
think so.
No.
I was coming someone. I'm coming up with
Are
a
you
bait.
are you
off the-
baiting?
She does that scene in you haven't seen the Suicide Squad?
No.
They don't
Okay.
give her a lot to do though, action-wise.
Excuse me, when she has to hold herself, like she's being held upside down and picks up a key with her foot and then unlocks herself
That's
from.
so different than
Fighting,
than
or-
gun fu or
or
than using a
throwing a
sword.
spear.
It is an
Yeah.
athleticism.
Rick and I are on
that
the same page here.
Yeah.
Listen.
It's different. The athleticism could be applied differently, is my
Yeah,
argument.
it can.
Yes, but then it would be a totally different movie.
Well, you could teach someone who can do that to do gun fu, is my argument. Whereas
No.
I've never seen what you can't teach someone with that level of dexterity
no.
to do.
Also, Ana de Armas didn't do the best at the gun fu thing. So like,
Whoa.
she did great. She really did great, but she could have done better for sure. Like the gun, and that's why then there wasn't actually a ton of gun work. I mean, John Wick does the most with
Yeah.
guns. She used a lot of objects. She used a lot of knives. She used a lot of bombs. Like she's always picking up an object and hitting somebody multiple times, and I really really like that. She trained so hard with the gun stuff, so it shows. She did really great, but you can't just teach any actor to use a gun. It's not easy.
Why do you say that?
That's not easy to use a gun.
Have you practiced with guns?
Tuesday in Stone, one of the inspirations was John Wick.
Sure.
And I do his signature chamber check, one-handed chamber check. And
that was the good idea
Good
button.
idea,
Sorry.
and so I practice that a lot, and it's not easy. And I was able to accomplish it, which was great. But it's not easy to make the gun look like an extension of yourself, which is what a lot of people say about John Wick, is that his gun is an extension of himself, as opposed to it being kind of a clunky type of thing. And I actually think Charlize Theron did a fantastic job with her gun work in that Atomic Blonde scene.
Okay. How do you break down what you do in that? What is it called again?
Tuesday in Stone.
No, I remember the movie. Sorry. Where you check the chamber check.
The one-handed chamber check.
One-handed chamber check. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the components of that, if you had to describe them?
It's kind of self-explanatory. It's like when you chamber a gun, you kind of pull that top part back, and then it kind of clicks, back in. So you're doing that one-handed, as opposed to like holding it with one hand and going, you're doing the with one hand.
How do you use your thumb? What parts of your hand are you using?
Top part. So you use like I don't have a gun on hand.
Well, and even if you did,
I don't have a
the audience
concealed
couldn't see it. So
Yeah.
I guess, can you show me with your hand, and I'll try to like.
Well, in the movie, doesn't he use his pinky, right, or something?
It's like it's multiple fingers involved in, but it's like kind of thing.
And you have your pinky or your bottom finger in the.
Yeah, I'd have to. I can't do it plain.
That's fine. So you're saying Ana de Armas didn't have enough gun dexterity that you believed it was an extension of herself?
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. David said it wasn't the best, and I would agree that it's like, but like we're also comparing her to Keanu Reeves, who is like just a savant with like how incredible he is with his action, and she doesn't come from a background of martial arts, and he has had decades of training and stuff like that. So we're also comparing her. And that's what's tough about being in this universe, is you're gonna naturally compare her to Keanu, when it's like we just shouldn't, because she's doing a phenomenal job with what she's being given, and her gun work too. But to your point of like, okay, let's place Margot Robbie in there, and it's like you can't just teach any actress to be an action star. And that's what I think a big problem has been in the last, 15 years is like, okay, let's just take a hot female and make her an action star. And it's like, I just have so many qualms about so many different things.
I would say to me it's about athleticism and dexterity and a mastery of certain skills. So I'll take back Margot Robbie and raise you Zoe Saldana could have been a better ballerina than Ana de Armas.
She is a ballerina, like in real life.
So she would have been a better person to play.
And I think they're a similar age too. So it is interesting that they casted Ana de Armas. I don't really know why they casted her in particular.
She's in her young 30s. I think she may be a little older
38.
than you. She's 30. No, she's younger than me, and I'm not 38.
No, she was born in 1988.
Yeah, okay.
So
she's not 38. She's 36. Because she's fake dating Tom Cruise right now to make him look straight.
Dating?
So yeah,
she's what? Whoa!
Yeah,
hot takes here. Oh,
Tom Cruise is not like. He's
like
Michael Jackson.
She was born in 1988, so that makes her 36.
Six.
She looks phenomenal for one. 36.
Yeah,
she looks great.
Zoe Saldana or Ana de Armas. Yeah,
Ana de Armas. Yeah.
I think Zoe Saldana is in her late 30s, early 40s.
Probably, yeah. But Eve in this film is supposed to probably be like 23 or 4, which is. Well, I mean that's a large jump of a decade, but it still works for her. But you kind of have to suspend disbelief that she's in her.
It jumps 12 years when she's. How old is the little girl at the beginning?
I would assume 13? She's like 12.
Oh, so she's 24. Okay,
yeah, that's a stretch.
Well, we don't know how much time passes in her training in this movie.
No, but it says 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years.
12 years from when she enters the Roscoe Roma.
12. So wait, does it jump forward 12 years twice?
No, it's 12 years and then 2 months later.
12 years and then 2 months of training outside of the...
Where she gets her actual gig.
Yeah,
and then she's doing regular contracts.
Should we not have seen John Wick at the Roscoe Roma school and just seen him get off the train at the end? Would that have made it a stronger...
I actually really liked him in the Roscoe Roma, but I didn't understand him getting... I loved their interaction at the end. Like, I loved that it showed us that nobody else is John Wick but John Wick.
Right.
Like
Which I thought undermined her in her own movie.
I don't agree with that.
Why not?
I think it created her as her own character. And because what annoys me so much is that we've seen so many quote unquote girl boss moments where the girl can defeat anyone. It's actually it's called a Mary Sue. No, David will correct me on this. Something Sue, Mary Sue or something. It's like
he's gonna mansplain this to you?
No, he's not gonna. He already explained it to me, so I'm re-explaining it. But he's much better at explaining things because my brain goes all over the place. I think it's a Mary Sue, which is like a character device of like Rey from Star Wars. She's smarter than everyone, stronger than anyone. She's kinder than everyone. She has no character flaws, and she needs no one's training to do so. So it makes, for my opinion, a very boring, very unrealistic character. You need character flaws. You need to find something to root for her. And especially like as a woman, if it's a realistic film, if it's not a superhero film, because that's a different genre, if it's a realistic film, I want to see her get overpowered because a large, strong man, I'm going to get overpowered. So how do I overtake this guy in a smart way?
Fight like a girl.
Yeah, fight like a girl. And I liked their explanation of it. I wish I would have seen more of her doing that specifically and that's why I liked the bomb scene or the grenade scene is because she used her smarts. To like do that, and I thought it was just so smooth and effective.
If you're blown up, you're blown up. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl.
100%, 100%, and you can get multiple people at once. So
Norman Reedus was underused in this movie, and do you have any relationship with Boondock Saints?
Wait, who? Norman? Who?
The long-haired guy that was the father of the girl that has to get saved.
Daryl from The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
Do you watch The Walking Dead?
No.
It's all gruesome. Why do you know who Daryl is then?
Well, I've seen clips.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's not in Game of Thrones, is he?
He's not.
No, but he looks a lot like the guy who plays Boromir. What's his name?
Oh, sure, he does. The guy that's Lord of the Rings character, Boromir, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Boromir. He gets killed in the first one with the arrows.
Yep.
Sean Bean.
Spoilers.
Sean Bean.
Yeah. Sean Bean.
Yeah,
Good
Sean
job.
Bean.
Spoiler for a book that came out in the 50s. Moron.
I was kidding.
Not you, but the audience member.
They look similar, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought that was stupid to have him in this
It was an
movie.
odd casting for sure.
It was odd to you in that
Well, he's like just super well known and is really capable, and then had him in such a small role, but he's still alive at the end. So maybe he comes back. Maybe there's more to. I think they're setting up a lot, which is,
I don't like that. I'm here to watch this movie, not get excited for future movies.
Wait, I thought that was your complaint about the last segment, that they should be expanding it more.
No, the opposite is that the complaint against Marvel movies is that they do too much fan servicery. Hey, we're setting up this movie and calling back to that movie, and this movie should be its own movie.
I think it is his own movie.
Ballerina.
Yeah, Ballerina is his own movie.
But it's beholden to John Wick.
I think they actually could have done more setup for the next part of
Oh.
it. Well, because there's the whole cult of the X's and the things like that. It's like, and then all of a sudden we're just done with that? Like, what?
Yeah,
what?
Why? She went through the town pretty roughly, so.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh wow,
Some
okay,
more
so
dead.
she's awesome. I wish she would have like gotten captured for a while and then like blah blah blah. So I just think there could have been
captured and tortured. What would be the
Captured?
narrative arc?
I mean, technically she was captured, not tortured, but she was captured, and they were talking for a bit, and then the bad guy leaves the
it's
room.
like, have you guys seen Pitch Meeting? It's like a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've seen
And
it.
the guy-
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, it's like, oh, she was captured. How'd she get out? Oh, it was super easy.
Yeah.
Utterly an inconvenience. So that's like what I thought about that. It was like, oh, I guess she's just out. She's good. She's good to go, I guess.
Yeah, I guess all movies do that. That's why he has that bit. Which
Yeah.
you disagree with me on having like Halle Berry in this one, or maybe any of the other characters from any other John Wick movie
Well,
other
wouldn't
than
they
the
make the
standards.
world smaller if Halle Berry showed up in this movie too? I don't know.
I guess if she could have gone to the
The
one
balance.
place, or Halle Berry
Yeah.
could have gone from the
Well,
one place
then
somewhere.
it wouldn't have been Eve's movie.
It would have distracted
It
by
would have
having-
then it would have been even more about like, oh, it can't stand on its own. It has to be a John Wick film. It's like,
well,
so let's
Keanu
add
has to be in it.
right.
But he's in it in a clever way, though. I don't think he's,
Not in the title.
What do you mean, not in the title?
From the world of John Wick,
Is that the full
Ballerina.
title? From the world of
Yes.
John Wick?
Yeah.
It's part of it? Oh.
I think, and this also came from David too, but I agreed with this of like, if the show The Continental had done better than the
Yeah.
huge flop that it was, I don't think they would have done that title.
Agreed.
Because then we would have had more knowledge of like they're expanding this universe.
Did you watch the show?
I don't think we watched the last episode or something. We watched quite a few. Or maybe we did watch through it all. It was that forgettable that I don't even remember.
I know I didn't finish it. Did you watch any of it?
No, I didn't.
It
Only
was
because
bad.
reviews, yeah.
I mean, it was honestly the action was bad. I think the casting was bad. I mean, it's like the person who just played everyone was like, wait, how are you the guy who played young Winston? Was like, wow, I cannot see you growing into this other person. And they had like that's right, they had like the karate moment, didn't they? Or I'm totally mixing
In
films.
Continental?
In the Continental, don't they go to like the dojo and the girl has the dojo? Or am I thinking of
Oh,
something else?
I didn't see very much of it. I was thinking though that like Angelica Houston in this movie is
Oh yeah.
it violates what she does in John Wick 3 because he's cast out, so why would she send
That's
him?
the most confusing part of it all. Is
Well,
like,
we don't know
what?
the actual timeline, right? Is it right before
Well, so
3?
what I looked up too is,
Yeah.
does he have his finger or not? Is the finger cut off or is it not? And I need to like rewatch Ballerina and see, but supposedly he doesn't have his finger, which means that he's already been kind of brought back in from being excommunicated.
Oh, his finger's cut off at the end of 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this takes place after 3, before 4, theoretically.
Yeah, but the timeline does not. So then that would tell me that he sees Eve, and then essentially, like, let's say 2.5 months later, he sees her again at that spot. So that would mean in 2.5 months, he's done all of John Wick 3.
Well, John Wick 3, at a certain point, there's a time clock put on it when the assessor is at the Continental in New York
Yeah.
saying, you have a week, or until the end of this week.
Sure.
before
So
you-
it actually could be plausible that, yeah, that's interesting.
Isn't it funny how all of us are into this franchise to that degree and are
a great
finding the
franchise.
midichlorians as they were?
Yeah. Have you guys seen Hot Ones where he's like, this camera, this camera,
Yeah.
this camera?
Yeah,
Tell people,
Thanks for referencing every other YouTube show. No, I'm just kidding.
And you know what's hilarious? I would never find these shows on my own. David finds them, and I find them very entertaining. So it's
I watch all of them. My wife doesn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't show them to. There are some things I show to her. My libertarian news sometimes, like, listen to this rant, honey. Or sometimes I'll play clips of this show for her.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, dumb. It's funny. But no, I really like Hot Ones. And Ana de Armas did Hot Ones for Ballerina. So it was a fun one to watch. Although she said something so weird. Oh, sorry, you're trying to wrap it up.
Oh, no. What did she say?
Because Sean asked her, he was like, they're making a new category in the Oscars for stunts. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what would you put as like things that people should be winning? Like, what are the categories within that? And the first thing she said was that, like, because English isn't her first language, so what she was trying to say was like a oneer, like the longer the take can be, like the better. You should win. And I was like, that's just not true. Like, that's just, then what are we doing in film? So I disagreed with her on that, which I found very interesting.
Oh, I will hard disagree with you there, because the idea behind John Wick 1 was that they didn't do so much cutting and showed more of the martial arts.
Yeah.
Was because that would be faster to shoot, but more complicated to do. So it opened up the audience to being able to see the skill of the stunt or actor, the performer, period.
Yeah.
The performer. And the opposite is true on, like, the Avengers Age of Ultron. When you see Natasha Romanoff fighting, there are way too many cuts, like, for each punch, and sometimes two cuts within one punch.
Well, even another Ana de Armas film, the Ghosted or whatever, I didn't watch it, with Chris Evans. I just watched the airplane scene, and it's like, where are we in this universe? Because you're cut. So it's not that. So a oneer is amazing when you can accomplish it.
Right.
You don't need a oneer to have a successful action movie. That's what I'm saying. And you don't need a 10-minute long take to have a good action scene. You just need it to be sharp and effective, and have the cuts in the right place.
Film as an art form can have a oneer used effectively in non-action. Did you see Adolescence on Netflix?
No, but that's such a choice, and essentially theater. It's closer to theater than it is to film in some ways.
Not if you go to multiple locations, I would argue.
In a oneer?
Yeah, because in Adolescence, you get in cars, you go in and out of rooms. Like, the third episode is a play.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of, because I didn't watch the whole series.
You watched just the third episode where they're in one room the whole time? I just watched
clips of, like, how they did it. I always like the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
But we've done oneers. I'll just say that. We've done oneers in our stuff. I did a oneer to do the chamber check, I kicked David, killed technically my dad. Haha, he's in that film. And then I walked down the stairs and did chamber check. So I think it can be really effective and awesome when you do it, but you don't need it to have a successful action scene.
And 90% of people aren't going to know. Like, my wife doesn't notice, like, did you notice how they didn't cut?
Yeah.
And I have to tell her.
A lot of those are, like, hidden, like in Atomic Blonde, they're hidden cuts.
Yes.
So they actually are cutting. But they made this artistic choice to make it feel like, she's not the one falling down the stairs. She's not the one going over the table. Those are her doubles.
Did you see 1917?
I did, and all the hidden cuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
My argument is that 1917 wasn't a very interesting movie. The way it's shot is very well.
It's more art than anything.
It's artsy. It's not that great, yeah.
Okay, well, Sam Mendes' grandfather is going to haunt you people in your dreams.
All right.
What?
So stay tuned for Theresa's interview in our upcoming segment. Thank you for listening. For more JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.